The Leon Loft now. Please welcome the record company.
Whoa, woman, I need you. Make me suffer, I'm a bleeder. Hurt me back when you run away. Make me feel so good when you stay. Don't let me get lonely. Don't let me get lonely. Just get gone. Baby, I ain't blind, don't ask me to see. All I've been doing is kneeling, begging you on my bended knee, baby. Yeah, and she don't believe me. Don't let me get lonely. Let me get lonely. Get lonely, baby. Just get gone. Let me get lonely. Don't let me get lonely. Get lonely. Just get gone. That's right. Hey. Your mama should like me, your daddy do too. Everyone in the family besides you. Can ask you 1,000 times. Nothing I say will make you mine. Don't let me get lonely. Let me get lonely. Get lonely, baby. Just get gone. Let me get lonely. Don't let me get lonely. Get lonely. Just get gone. Ooh, why don't you let me get lonely? Let me get lonely. Whoa, baby, just get gone. Oh, don't let me get lonely. Let me get lonely. Won't be lonely long, Lord. Thank you very much. A very warm and loving crowd. We appreciate it. Thanks to all the listeners.
So, for those of us of a certain vintage, we can hear all of those blues and blues rock influences, and it's really great to see it come back reinvented, which is excellent.
Thank you.
Was this the music, though, that you gravitated towards yourselves as listeners, as kids?
Yeah, I'd say so. I certainly, well, we've talked enough as a group to know where we all came from and what we were all listening to, and I think I can safely say for all of us that, like, rock and roll and blues influenced music, that was something that was really in our hearts, all of our hearts, the whole ride. So, yeah, I grew up with a family personally that always had the radio on, and my dad was always rock and roll. My mom was more of a Motown, Yeah. And my grandpa was a country guy. So, but like Waylon Jennings country, stuff like that.
You say that, you got a curl of the lip there when you say that. What's that about?
Hey.
Waylon.
Waylon. bad man, Waylon Jennings. But, so when we formed the band, we all became friends because we realized we had this common interest in this kind of music. And it was a lot of late night, like 3 a.m., never to be remembered, gladly, never to be recorded or heard, jams that led to just forming a very solid friendship, and then listening to an old John Lee Hooker record, actually, Hooker and Heat, one evening, blasting it out the window at 2 a.m., which probably wasn't the best for the neighbors, but we were enjoying ourselves, and that's where the idea for the group came from.
So you mentioned this 3 o'clock in the morning jamming thing, which actually leads me directly to the next question I was going to ask. The songs that we hear on this album, and then the earlier EPs, were those the result of jam sessions where the songs sort of formed in the jamming, or were these written and then it was the jamming that sort of sorted out how they were going to sound?
A little bit of both. Sometimes we'd come to the house and maybe Alex, whose house we recorded everything at, the Off the Ground track, and Rita Mae Young, the two tracks that have been getting the radio, they were recorded in that same living room and mixed by that guy right there, our bass player, for those of you who can't see him at home. And he's got a good ear, and we'd come in and sometimes he would have a little like drum part or a bass line, or I'd have a lyric, or Mark has come up with stuff, and he had, like, I remember "Turn Me Loose," a song on the record. Mark came up with that phrase, so it comes from anywhere. We kind of look at it as a true team effort. There's no one, none of us are able to do this without the other two. Yeah. That's why it took the three of us to get into this band to finally have some things happen in the correct way, because we've all been playing music since we were kids, and none of us have seen the kind of things that have been occurring with this group ever before in our careers. So
it's fun and it's dangerous. It has both. No, it has both of those things going on, and I'm wondering if that's actually a tangible thing, like a moment that you have to get to where you go, yeah, we're having a blast, and it's got an edge.
Well, I think you'd appreciate it being up here. The fact that John Lee Hooker, a native of this state, was an influence, but also for me and for us on record, but for me particularly, I saw a performance a week before we started the group that was pivotal. It was Iggy and the Stooges at the Palladium in L.A., and I walked out of there and my heart was just on fire. They were the loudest thing I've ever heard. And he had just come back off of a hip surgery, and he jumps in the crowd, and and then the third song, they had to stop the whole show because he had the entire crowd on stage with him. It was like the guy had to come out and be like, "Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Iggy invited too many people up. We got to put him back on." And it's just like I walked out of there. I was like, I've got to be in a rock and roll band. I have to, And the blues is part of the rock and roll. I've been saying for a while that the roll is where the blues is. The roll is the soul, and the blues and the gospel. So when people ask me what we do, I always say rock and roll because, yes, there's a blues influence, but that's inherent in the genre, I believe, and that's why there's a roll affixed to it, So,
what do you want to do next?
We're going to do another track off of, all these tracks are on the record, I guess. We're going to do this song called Rita Mae Young. It's just a real simple little number. This kind of idea behind it is, at times we've had it done to us, we've done it to others. We all have in this room, I guarantee you, probably, where somebody comes into your life and they bring this light in with them, and you're like, you notice it. It just immediately illuminates your life. You're like, oh my God, this person is so amazing. And then, as we tend to do as people, all of us, you can take it for granted. And then every once in a while, that light leaves. And then all of a sudden, you see it again because of its absence. And you go, I got to get that light back. The song's called Rita Mae Young.
In my pocket for a midnight song. I couldn't get you what you wanted, but you stayed on my mind. And a tired heart, I'm feeling wrong. Put $1 in the jukebox for a midnight song. Lovers, you're gone, you clouded your eye. Might be the bourbon or the lie you've been had. Evening coming, night gets warm. That soft southern air and a jukebox moaning. Yes, you're gone, yes, you're gone. Beauty of my life, my bright shining morning. Yes, you're gone, Lord, you're gone. My Rita Mae Young. My blue-eyed one. You're gone, my blue-eyed one. Good morning, Rita, don't you miss your wine? Don't you miss your body being next to mine? Got a tired heart, been too long. Got $1 in my pocket for a midnight song. Yes, you're gone, yes, you're gone. My Rita was my life and my bright shining morning. Yes, you're gone, but you're gone. My Rita Mae Young. Yes, you're gone, yes, you're gone. Rita, you're my life, my bright shining morning. Yes, you're gone, oh, you're gone. My Rita Mae Young child. Look out, baby. Thank you so much, folks. Thank you so much.